We are almost at the exact midpoint of reveal season for Disney Lorcana's 10th set, Whispers in the Well, and it seemed like a really good time to take a detailed look at what we're getting, what we're not getting, what classifications are in there, what franchises, and therefore, what can we expect over the next couple of weeks. Well, I wanted to do this, but I needed a little bit of help, so I turned to another amazing creator. It's May over at Illuminator Tales on Instagram, and she always does an amazing job breaking down what's in each set and looking at every little detail you can imagine. So I'm really excited to welcome her here. May, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm really excited to dig a little bit into this set and talk about some of the things you've been seeing. Have you been enjoying their reveal so far?
Yes, the artwork is simply amazing, and I look so forward to buying this set. Are you looking forward to buying this set?
I am. Every set I feel like is my favorite set when I see it in previews, and Whispers is no different. I'm really excited to dive in. I'm also excited to dive into some of the numbers you've been looking at. Are you ready to talk like our top 10 observations for the set so far?
Yes, let's do this.
Number 10, character classifications. Lorcana is all about storytelling, and one of the ways that you can get a feel for a particular set and the vibe they're trying to introduce are the classifications of the characters that you see within that set. For example, Azurite Sea being full of pirates and captains. So Fabled was chock full of heroes and princesses, and that's no surprise as Disney is chock full of heroes. Whispers in the Well actually has quite a few as well, with 24 revealed so far, but it's actually not the most common type that we're seeing in the set. The most common type is allies, with 40 revealed so far.
But having 40 ally cards, 13 detective cards is also pretty amazing. You'll often see the combination of detective and ally, and I think it tells a lot about this set, and you also see that in the cards being revealed. Like the Illuminary tunnels, clearly underneath the Illuminary tower, which in the card you actually see in the background, you see this small detective. And I think these detectives add to the story of Lorcana, which is amazing to see, and I can't wait to explore further what these detectives are all going to do.
So number 9, Ghost. Classifications are super fun in Lorcana because they indicate the type of card that a character is, they help tell a story, but they also indicate that there may be certain synergies or strategies that exist in the future with cards that care about certain card classifications. So it's always fun when you see a new type appear in the game. And we saw a new one this set with Ghost.
The card with the classification Ghost is actually Duckward from DuckTales, and I think it's an amazing start to a Ghost classification if they do decide on extending it further. In the series, actually a ghost, and I love the way that they gave him a rush also, which means he's just flying in there like a ghost and scaring the hell out of people. Can I say that, or is that not that Disney friendly?
I think that's fine. There's a Disney song called Hellfire, so we're gonna let it go.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of DuckTales, this is a franchise that we've seen quite a bit. We're going to talk more about it in a second, but first, let's talk about some franchises we're seeing for the first time. Number 8, new franchises. It's no secret that we're seeing some new franchises for the first time in Whispers in the Well, with Gargoyles and the Black Cauldron seeing cards for the very first time, and people have been really excited to play with some of their favorite characters from these series. But exactly how many have we seen so far? Is it a single card from a new franchises like we've seen teasers for in other sets? I think Wreck-It Ralph did this where we had one Wreck-It Ralph card very, very early on. Or are we seeing quite a few? Let's take a look at the numbers so far.
Well, that's actually a good point. And the funny thing is we've seen quite a lot of cards from these new franchises. So the Black Cauldron actually has 12 cards right now, which is quite a lot. And then that's followed by Gargoyles, which is 11. But they're both not the top franchise when it comes to revealed cards, which is also quite interesting, because that honor goes to DuckTales. Is that what you would have expected?
Absolutely not. Let's talk about that some more. Number 7, franchises. So as May just said, the Black Cauldron and Gargoyles are not the most common franchises in the set so far, with that honor going to DuckTales. Let's take a look at the numbers and see what else is making an appearance in this set. As usual in Lorcana, the cards are spread across a number of different franchises, with 20 making an appearance so far, but of course some are represented more than others. We've already talked about DuckTales as being the top, with the Black Cauldron and Gargoyles right behind, and beneath that, Zootopia and Mickey and Friends are number 4 and 5 respectively. May, what else have you seen in this set that you find interesting?
After Zootopia, there are 3 more franchises that are quite fascinating to me. And the first one is Lorcana itself, which, I'm always ready to learn more about the world of Lorcana, and to see them have 8 cards, that's just simply amazing. Another franchise we see quite a lot of this set is Jungle Book with 7 cards. I think it's quite interesting how that franchise is slowly extending with more and more characters in it. And the last one I would love to mention is Tangled. I mean, we've seen quite a lot of Tangled cards before, but what is really unique this set is that we almost got the whole group from the Snuggly Duckling. And to be fair, honest, I can't wait to play with this whole group of cards.
Number 6, new abilities. Not only are we seeing some new franchises in the game, but we're also seeing some new mechanics and keywords. And it's always really fun to see where the game developers are taking the game and what new little toys they're giving us to play with as we explore how to build decks, etc. The two new keywords that we're seeing are Boost and Alert. Boost, of course, is tied to a very specific Glimmer type. The way that Shift is tied to Floodborn, Boost is tied to Whisper Glimmers. From a flavor perspective, Boost is a way to take a Glimmer that's partially formed and make it fully formed by augmenting it with another card.
What I actually find quite fascinating in general is that Floodborn is an alternative for Storyborn and Dreamborn, as we know, right? But Whisper is not. And I find that fascinating, and I'm wondering like if we will ever see a Floodborn Whisper. I mean, I don't know. That's yeah, maybe we won't, but it's I think it's still quite an interesting difference between the two.
Alert is also a fascinating ability because it plays on an ability that we've seen on cards before. There are many cards in Lorcana which gain evasive on your turn, allowing you to challenge evasive characters, but it also gives synergy with cards like Dumbo, which allows you to draw a card with an evasive character. Alert is an ability which simply allows a character to challenge evasive characters without giving them evasive on your turn, so it avoids that evasive synergy.
I think it's fascinating that up to now we've only seen one card with Alert. And we've seen, of course, some actions that will give you other characters alert, but there's only one card with alert up to now, and actually 3 cards with evasive. So I'm hoping we will see some more alert cards revealed in the upcoming week, because I think it's desperately needed in this meta.
That's a really good segue for number 5, other most common abilities. With Whispers featuring so prominently in Whispers in the Well, and with Boost tied to that Glimmer type, it's no surprise to see it's the most common ability represented in the set so far. And as May mentioned, we're also seeing quite a few evasive characters. But May, what else are we seeing in Whispers in the Well so far?
So next to Whispers and Shift, the only thing we can really see in the set is Bodyguards and Evasive. Like Bodyguards has 5 cards, Evasive has 4 cards. It's still not that many, but it's the ones that stand out. Things like Challenger only have 1 or 2. Hopefully with the more reveals, we'll see more of the other abilities appear. For now, it's basically just Whispers that really stands out. It's expected for a set called Whispers in the Well.
Number 4, Curve and Uninkables. So there's actually not a whole lot of conclusions that we can draw from the Inkability and the Curve just yet at this point of the set, but it is super fun to look at the numbers and the data. The Curve seems to follow a pretty standard curve for a set of Lorcana, with the bulk of the cards falling in the 2, 3, or 4 slots.
I agree, it's actually pretty much following the standard curve that we see in Lorcana. But what makes that so interesting is that means we can take a look at what we can expect the upcoming week. And I think we can expect a lot more 1-drops if we want to get to that standard curve we normally have. We can probably expect to see more 2, 3, and 4 drops, and maybe even some drops at the end, like 9 or 10, which we haven't seen at all up to now. Another quite interesting thing to look at is the Uninkables ratio. Right now we're hovering around 18%, which sounds quite high, but when you look at other sets, we're normally between the 25 and 30%. So that means we can expect quite a lot more Uninkables the next week if we want to hit the 25 to 30% ratio of Uninkables to inkable cards.
Number 3, locations are back. Locations were introduced to Lorcana way back in set 3 into the Inklands, and since then we've seen them pop up in most Lorcana sets, but not all. Notably, they have been absent from the last 2, Arcasia's Island and Reign of Jafar. It seems that the dual ink cards that appeared in both of those sets kind of took the slot of locations, and there was just no room for them in those sets. But to this point, we haven't seen any dual color cards, and we have seen locations. They're back, folks, whether you love them or whether you hate them.
I'm actually quite happy that locations are back. I think they're an excellent addition to the game, and I'm mainly waiting for that location that will have boost. We know there will be locations that have boost, and I just can't wait to see where they will be going with that. Up to now, we only have 4 location cards. Looking at the numbering, we know that some ink colors will have more location than others, like Teal already has 2 and has room left for 1 more location at least, but Amber only has 1 spot it can actually go in when you look at the numbering. So not all ink colors will have the same amount of locations, and that's also quite interesting because in the past they often had.
Number 2, look at these reprints. So Disney Lorcana's latest set, Fabled, was chock full of reprinted cards from set 1 through 4. But of course, all of those cards use the same art from the original printing. One of the things that fans have been clamoring for are reprints with new and original artwork. And this is something that Ravensburger did in Reign of Jafar, reprinting Dalmatian Puppy Tailwagger and Captain Hook Forceful Duelist with new and original art. And we're very excited to see that technique used again here in Whispers in the Well.
One of the cards returning this set is Mickey Mouse Detective. I mean, what else could have been more appropriate in a detective set to have Mickey Mouse there again? A lot of us were waiting for that card to be announced, and I think people are very glad to see him return, especially with his new amazing artwork. Another card that a lot of people were happy to see again is Dragonfire. I think Dragonfire was on a lot of lists for what people expected to see reprinted in Fable, but it didn't happen. And it's so good to have it in here again. I think some removal is really needed in Ruby.
Before we go on to number 1, a huge shout out to May for putting together all of this data and digging into the details with us. If you aren't following Illuminator Tales on Instagram, you should be. There's all sorts of amazing content over there. Head down to the show notes below, click on the link, and make sure you follow that amazing account. You won't regret it. Number 1, power creep. When you play a TCG, power creep is something that you're always on the lookout for as new sets are revealed. Basically, the term power creep refers to cards getting slowly more powerful over time as more and more sets are printed. And this happens for a variety of reasons. It's not inherently good or bad, but it is one thing that I think players like to see happen slower rather than faster. The one thing we're noticing with Whispers in the Well is it seems to be on the more powerful side, with certain cards in older sets being very obviously power crept. Now, once the full set is revealed, we can take a look at average stat lines and cost and inkability and determine if this set really is more powerful than others. But let's take a look at a few obvious examples of cards that we see better than previous versions of those cards that existed.
One of the most recent examples of this is Chomp. Chomp is basically the same card as Stampede from set 1, only this time it's inkable. While that might not seem like a huge difference, it might be enough to put it into your deck this time, instead of having it to compare it to other uninkables that you want to put in your deck. So there's a little bit of a small power creep there.
Speaking of set 1, there's another side-by-side comparison we can make. Let's take a look at Donald Duck strutting his stuff. Now, Donald Duck is a 4/3 with Ward for cost 5, an inkable cost 5. And in Whispers in the Well, we're getting Scuttle Scatterbrain, all of the same stats, except he's a 5/5 instead of a 4/3, so an extra strength and 2 willpower for the same cost.
I'll be very curious when we get to the end of this reveal season to see if there's that much power creep, or if it's just these small cards that don't really make a difference. But I guess we shall see. What are your expectations in this?
I'm not sure. As you're pointing out, there's really 2 ways that we can observe power creep. One is with like very, very simple stat lines on vanilla cards or cards that aren't often played, like the ones that we've mentioned. Another way is when you see like these really big, powerful, meta-breaking cards that are just more powerful than anything we've seen before. And I'm not sure that we've seen the latter just yet, but it will be interesting to see on the whole, as we look at this whole set, whether or not on average, cards are better for their cost. And that's something that we'll see here in a few weeks. So that's it for our mid-reveal season overview of Whispers in the Well. What did we miss? What are you seeing in this set? What cards are you particularly excited for? Let us know in the comments below.
Thank you, Liam, for sitting down with me to talk about this. I'm very much looking forward to the next week of reveals. And let's talk about it again when all the cards have been revealed.